Okay.
Okay, so start off by just telling me, what is the water situation now? How many people are still without water in the city?
Yeah, I can't give you an exact number on how many people are without, but we have made significant progress over the last couple of days. Just like as of now, we're seeing water pressure increase at this on 70th and Pines Road booster station, and West Shreveport's water pressure is still low, but they should expect to see some increases over the next couple hours. And they have been one of the worst impacted areas throughout the city. Crews are still working to repair breaks as well in the Queensboro area, and repairs will continue over the next several weeks with some of those smaller repairs.
And I saw that you posted that some of the hardest communities were the ones surrounding Pines Road. Why is that?
Yeah, well, it's just been harder to identify the breaks in that area and also get enough water into that pump to be able to really build up pressure and get our pumps back on over there. The booster station, I'm sorry, not pump.
And so what is the timeline going to look like for complete restoration for the city? Because the timeline has been changing quite a bit.
Yeah, well, we said on last week we were saying we should be able to actually make progress starting this weekend whenever the thaw occurred, and then we put the timeline as of Tuesday. So we're in the middle of Tuesday today, and we're hoping we can meet that timeline. If we notice that we will not be able to get the timeline of complete restoration on getting water in the homes today, then we'll give you an update. But as of now, we're still hoping to have water restored to the homes of our residents today, even if that is a low water pressure. And the boil advisory timeline has been about the same as well. Once we close off this system, it's going to be 2 to 3 days before we can get the testing samples back from the Louisiana Department of Health to say that the water is safe to drink.
So how realistic do you think it is that all of the water will be restored in the city by the end of the day today?
I mean, my staff is still telling me that. So again, it's attainable, I'm imagining, or they would have let me know that, hey, we won't be able to reach that. But again, I want to define what restoration looks like. Again, moving the water pressure around the system is a lot more complicated than just making repairs. So even if we will are able to get water into some of our residents' home, that water pressure may still remain low for some time.
And I know that you guys had a special meeting last week to kind of talk about some of the water issues, and you mentioned potentially doing an infrastructure meeting to discuss how that worked during the winter storm. Can you kind of explain why you would want to do something like that?
Yeah, so my council, they wanted to have the meeting to talk about the emergency declaration and other things. So, my ask to them was for them to convene a infrastructure meeting. It's for the council to convene an infrastructure meeting to present us with any ideas that they have to make our infrastructure more resilient. We've talked about bonds and various things of that nature, and we can't get complete consensus. So I'm hoping, if council just sits and realizes what we just went through, that they can come up with a plan, and we'd be happy to be able to champion it together and move forward as a team.
So, what would you want to accomplish coming out of that infrastructure meeting?
A plan that we can all agree on, from my office and all 7 members of council, that we can all agree on, and we can move forward to make our water system more resilient, so that we don't see this level of damage in the future from a winter storm or any storm for that matter.
And what would you say to critics who, quite frankly, don't feel like the city's government has done enough during this time for people who don't have water?
Yeah, I'd say that's unfortunate. I mean, we have an emergency plan. We don't have emergency infrastructure. I would hope those critics would go around town and look at how hard the police have been working throughout this, not only responding to car accidents because of the terrible road conditions, but also delivering water to our elderly and disabled. Look how hard the fire department has been working, and not just putting out fires, but also providing water to our healthcare systems to keep them going. Watching our water and sewer workers work 20+ hour days to get to these repairs so that we can restore water throughout our city. We have an emergency plan in place. Our workers have done everything within their will, within every bit of energy they have in them to implement that plan. we do not have emergency infrastructure that can withstand a century, once in a century winter storm.
And what would you say to other critics who might say that there's different care being put on different neighborhoods in Shreveport?
Yeah, I would say that's not true. I want to dispel that misinformation, that rumor right now. We have had crews out throughout the city. Our limiting factors was the weather at first and being able to identify where those big breaks were. But we told citizens to call it in if they see a water main break in their neighborhood so that we can respond to it. So we've been responding to equitably across the city. We have 23 crews out today, and we've had 20 plus crews out every single day going everywhere in Shreveport and making progress. I want to add, this is one big part of this story that we should realize when trying to get the picture, when citizens are getting a picture, and that's this. The citizens who don't have water are the ones that are upset and speaking the loudest. But a lot of citizens have had their water repaired, and those stories do not come up to the surface as much as some that are upset about this. So we have not. I treat all of Shreveport the same. I was in Allendale last night. I was in Broadmoor the other day delivering water. I'll be in West Shreveport today and checking on the water pressure over there. I am going everywhere I possibly can while holding meetings to show our community that every neighborhood is important to not only my administration, but to the future of this city. So we're giving them all the attention we have.
And I want to touch on something that you said a little bit earlier about the fact that full water restoration doesn't necessarily mean full water pressure. So do you have a timeline on what like full water pressure would potentially look like for the city?
We do not have a timeline on that. Like I said, controlling the water pressure in our system is quite complicated. If you were to release water too quickly and have that air pressure in the system build up, you can actually cause more blowouts than the weather did itself. So we got to be very, very controlled in how we control the air that's in the system right now that'll restore the PSIs that the pounds per square inch, the water pressure that people are looking for.
Is there anything else that you want to add or that you'd like to address in terms of the water situation that we're facing in the city?
Yeah, I want to just thank the city employees that have been working around the clock. I'm so grateful for them. And I also want to thank the citizens out there that just laced up their boots and have gone out to help their neighbors. We cannot do this all by ourselves. It takes a team effort. It takes a village effort. And I just want the village to know that we're very, very grateful and inspired by us all coming around and working for one another.
And my very last question is, I'm sure that the water issue is going to come up during the city council meeting today. So what are you kind of expecting going into that? What do you want to come out of it? Yeah, what do you think about that going into that meeting later on today?
Yeah, I mean, that's top of mind for me. I'm sure it's top of mind for many council members, and we'll be just giving them an update. We are working as fast as we possibly can work. We're working with organic crews with the city of Shreveport. We're working with all contractors available. We're working with the Louisiana Rural Water Association, the National Guard. We're working with every available resource we have and working around the clock. So at this point, it's not much to discuss outside of just, hey, what repairs need to be made, and just giving them an update on where we'll be at that point of the day.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking time to do this. I know you're really busy. So thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the time.
Yeah, of course.